Turn to the second SMD subtype, sensory under-responsivity. SUR is difficult to detect at times. Unlike SOR, children who are easy babies are non-demanding and calm. What appears to be calm may in fact be unaware. Only extremely observant parents will get enough cues to even have their child with SUR evaluated until the child is old enough to attend school. Often it is the demands of school that identify children with SUR, as they are so much slower to process that they may not keep up in school. Let's hear Lori's story about her son who has sensory under-responsivity.
One evening when my son was 3, he was playing in the living room. I was just taking the casserole out of the oven when Jordan started to scream, one of those blood-curdling screams that is every parent's worst fear. I raced to the living room, but couldn't immediately see what the matter was. Only after I got Jordan into better light did I understand. The inside of every finger on his right hand was red and blistering. I froze, trying to figure out how in the world this could happen in my own, child-safe living room, but the burn was so bad that I didn't have time to look for answers. I cried to my husband and we sped to the emergency room, where doctors found third-degree burns on Jordan's palms and the fingers of his hand. It turned out that he had grabbed a light bulb and did not let go. By the time the sense of the heat had reached him, it was already too late.
Jordan's delayed withdrawal from the hot light bulb is a symptom of sensory under-responsivity. The signals indicating too hot were not processed correctly in Jordan's brain. For children with sensory under-responsivity, the presence of stimulation in the environment or inside them is not strong enough to elicit a response. They need exaggerated sensory stimulation to respond. For example, if you call your child's name and they have SUR, they may not respond. But if you raise your voice and get right in front of them, or even more powerful, if you touch them to gain their attention, then they will respond. Children with SUR do not process sensation that occurs within a normal range of intensity. They need more intensity, longer duration, or more frequent stimulation to respond. Let's look at Alex on tape to see what SUR looks like. Note how when he completes the activity, he just stops. Even though he has the strength to pull himself up the scooter board ramp, every moment when he is not encouraged by the therapist, he just stops. You will notice this immediately because it is such an unusual behavior for a child. A lack of initiative and motivation to move is a key sign of sensory under-responsivity. Think about the last time you saw a small child just stop. It is quite unusual for children to completely stop when they are in the middle of playing.
I want to see if you can do only arms this time. Let's see how powerful you are. Wow, pretty powerful. Go, Alex! You can do it! Oh, no! Oh, my finger! You keep winning! You keep winning! Oh, I need a break. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
For kids who are under-responsive, again, it's the labels that are the problem. This child is assumed to be slow in school and to be unmotivated, when actually it's a problem of not being aroused enough by the stimulation that's around them. So if we can just have these children understood correctly and treated for what the real problem is, they won't develop secondary emotional problems. The third subtype of sensory modulation disorder we call sensory craving, abbreviated SC. You may also hear it referred to as sensory seeking. We use the term sensory craving because we feel that sensory seeking is a normal behavior, although it can be taken to an extreme level. When you twiddle a paper clip, run your hand through your hair, or shift your position while listening to this course, you are seeking sensation. Most people can get enough sensation on their own through little behaviors to keep them both calm and alert. If you feel yourself begin to doze while watching this course, you will stop the course, go get a glass of water, or stand up and stretch, and then resume. Children with all three kinds of sensory modulation disorders have trouble providing the type of sensory input they really need to stay calm and alert. Nowhere is this more obvious than in the child with sensory craving. Individuals with sensory craving are constantly on the search for more sensation, which often translates into being in your face and in your space, also in their friends' faces and spaces. These people are in a constant quest for more. It is easy to misinterpret and to provide more. For example, you lift your child up and spin him or her around. He or she says, more. So you do it again once or twice. After a while, you have had enough. Your child, who is typically developing, will accept that limit and run off to find something else to do. But a sensory craver will say more, and will be adamant in that demand. He or she will not accept your limit. I'm tired, honey. We'll do more later. This may start a battle that ends in a meltdown. Here's the important nugget of information about sensory cravers. What happens if you give a sensory craver more stimulation? Do they calm down and go into a calm, alert state? No, not at all. They become over-aroused. If given too much input, they will become disorganized and very nudgy. Of course, all children may fall into this category at times. But for children with sensory craving, their needs are constant. The demands are never ending. This is a critical principle. If a child has SMD of the sensory craving type, more stimulation will not fulfill their needs. I reiterate this point because I have heard parents say, I was told he needs sensation like gas in a car engine. I need to fill him up with sensation when he is seeking. This is not at all true. Children who are sensory cravers need interrupted and functional sensory input, not repetitive, filling up type sensation. But more about that in Course 104, A Sensible Approach to Sensory Craving. Notice in this video of a young sensory craver how he keeps moving his feet, even though the block is not there to kick. Also, his loud verbalizations are another form of sensory craving, auditory. It is not at all unusual for children who are sensory cravers to have difficulty modulating their voice volume.
Ready? Oh, we need quiet feet. Quiet feet. Good job. Ready, set, go! You got it. Now get your tummy. You get your tummy or your feet?
My feet.
Your feet. Okay, ready? We gotta have quiet feet. Yeah. You crashed them. You did. Are you ready?
Yes.
Ready?
I got it,
You what? Can you tell me that again? You want the block? Oh, you could say, I want the block.
Sensory cravers are just wonderful little children. They're exuberant, they're full of life, but they can get kicked out of schools. I have one in my center right now who's been kicked out of 3 preschools because they seem bad. They can be aggressive, they can be energetic, and they never calm down. So it's very important for these children to get what they really need in order not to turn into a behavior.